If you've decided to pursue a music performance degree, then you're probably insane. Probably accepted the fact that you will be poor your entire life, but you love music to death. That is really awesome. I will be going to the University of Miami for euphonium performance. This past year, I applied to 6 schools. I got accepted into all of these schools, and actually for Indiana University, I got accepted twice. If you're an Emily who plays cello, got accepted into Indiana. I hope you got your email, and I hope you're doing well. This will probably give you a lot of help if you don't have friends or like an old person who's been to music school. I'll be your old person, or I'll be your friend. The lights change, so we're getting serious. The first thing you need to do is to research the schools for your major or your instrument. My primary instrument is the euphonium, but I also play the bass trombone. So I went online and I searched up the best euphonium players, and I listed all their information that I needed, like the location, facts about the teacher, where they studied, their profession, what instruments they play, what they specialize in, if they have albums out, how long have they been teaching, what type of students have they produced. I took all this information and I put it all in a really big spreadsheet. For a music performance degree, I believe that the most important thing to look for in a music school is the professor who's going to teach you. You are going to this school to learn how to perform and learn from the person that you admire the most, hopefully. So that professor should be the person you respect and want to learn from for the next 4 years. So I will be going to the University of Miami, and I made this decision mainly because of Professor Aaron Tyndall. I met him at IET 2018, my first year at IET, and I was really scared of him. I saw his picture on the pamphlet, and it was intimidating as heck. Throughout the week, we have lessons and master classes, and in one of the master classes I attended, I sat there and Professor Aaron Tyndall was teaching this student, and this tuba student did not play very well, and Dr. Tyndall told him straight up, "You are not gonna get a job if you keep playing like that." And I was scared out of my mind. I wanted someone to push me so hard. And I hope that you listening to this find a professor or know of a professor right now that you respect this much and you have this type of experience with. So that night, all the artists who taught during the day usually perform at the recital in the evening. So I was sitting in the crowd with my little friends. He started playing, and it was the clearest thing I've ever heard. I was just so amazed. I felt my soul gravitating toward him because you've got to listen to him, man. It was a religious experience. He was playing the Peacocks, which is on his album Yellowbird, and I listen to it all the time. I go in the airport and it's like the only album I have downloaded. I've listened to it for about 5 hours. I'm not insane, okay? But yeah, that's why I chose my professor. And there were other things that I learned about him once I had a lesson, which I will go into later. Also, another thing that you have to research, I made another Google Doc for this. All the repertoire for the audition. So, for example, you go to the website and you go to music and then auditions, and then you find all the required repertoire and put it on a document. Another pretty important thing that you have to research is if your Institute of Music cares about the grades that you get. It shows character when you work hard on your grades and if you take AP classes, but it's also important to understand your priorities. When I was in my sophomore and junior year, I was taking honors classes and AP classes, and they were stressing me out so much about topics that I really didn't care about. But if you're interested in them, then sure, whatever, take them. I just accepted that that's not what I wanted or what I needed at all. So I went along my merry way and took regular classes, but the workload was very little. I'm in my senior year and I barely have homework, so I can focus completely on practicing and producing music. And also social media, of course. Alright, the second thing you want to do is to contact your professors. You should do this a few months before your Common App is due, so you get to know them and know if you want to go to that school. I applied to my top 3 schools, early action, so I contacted all my professors before then. Email them an example like this: professional, introduce yourself, maybe send a video of yourself playing, and ask for a lesson. This is crucial because you want to know who they are, your type of vibe, how you can interact with them. Can you be yourself around them? Who are they actually? If you haven't listened to their interviews or podcasts, maybe it's a good time to do so. You also want to get to know them personally because this can help in the long run with higher chances of getting accepted, better chances of scholarship, and also if you end up not going to that school, you know them and you can still have their contact. When you set up your lesson, you want to see how they teach and if you are receptive to that type of teaching. And they also want to know if you are receptive to their type of teaching. So although you may be looking for a professor, they are also looking for a student. Go in with a piece that you are pretty confident in playing with. It doesn't have to be perfect. They are just looking for your potential to be taught. More about this later. A pro tip: you should bring about 2 questions to your interview or lesson, because at the end of the interview they always ask, do you have any questions for me? And then you say, no. They are looking for if you are interested. I 100% recommend that you record your lesson with them just to listen back on what they have to say, what resonated with you, because it's really all about what you want to do and where you want to study. It's not about if they will pick you, it's about if you will pick them. So when you're applying to these colleges, most will ask you for an essay. Most will also ask you for a supplemental essay for the music school. I know that some music professors read your essays, so be aware of that. I wrote my Common App essay about producing the album Midnight Euphonium over the summer during quarantine because my dad is an EMT worker and he was on the front lines working during the coronavirus. The thing about this essay that I wrote is that it was super individual to me. Not a lot of people produce an album about their dad during a worldwide virus, you know? I didn't finish my essays until about a week before it was due. I'm sorry you passed me, but I really intended on starting early and finishing early. It's just that I spent those past few months thinking intently about my topics. If you're like me, then you'll eventually find the right topic for your essays and you'll eventually write them and you'll eventually be happy with them and submit them. The next thing to do would be to practice the music that you chose for your college auditions. You want to choose music that is your level of playing and you will be able to show off your capabilities. So cater to your strengths. Do not choose music that is way too hard for you to learn in about 2 months. When you're playing for these professors, you're not striving for perfection, because the professor does not want a student who is already perfect. You're striving for showing your potential and your ability to learn. For my college auditions, I played the Vaughan Williams Tuba Concerto Movement 2 and Concertino by Cornell. I absolutely loved both of those pieces and I used them for most of my auditions. So the University of Miami requires a lyrical solo and a technical solo. So I was initially planning on playing a Rochu etude for my lyrical piece, but then I was listening to Aaron Tyndall's recordings on YouTube because of course I researched him and I absolutely loved it. So I couldn't stop myself and I learned it. It's still one of my favorite pieces. I also think my professor really liked the choice of music that I made because he said Concertino was one of his favorite solos, and also he played the recording of Vaughan Williams that I really enjoyed. Now it's time for the audition. You know all the basics. Dress well, be polite, ask questions, answer the questions, laugh at their jokes as they have. You know, if you're doing a recorded audition or an interview, make sure you have good lighting, good audio, use a microphone, all that stuff. You already know how to do that probably. If you don't, go look up a tutorial on YouTube. I would 100% recommend visiting the school because you get to know the vibe of the place, and that's very important. So the key is to be unapologetically yourself. You want to see how the true you interacts with the professor or the school. Try to calm yourself down if you're nervous. Nerves just mean that you're excited, and that is a very good sign. Sometimes they will have an interview portion during the audition, and just like I said before, I'm just gonna repeat it. You must have questions prepared. Results! A few months later, you will be getting mail from the schools that you applied to. You either got accepted, rejected, or waitlisted, or deferred. So if you got accepted, congratulations! If you got rejected, they don't deserve you. If you're accepted into both the university and the music school, then it is time to wait for financial aid. Now, once you get your financial aid, and if you get huge rewards from your top schools, I would suggest not to commit early, because there is a high chance that you can get even more money if you didn't get full tuition already by just waiting and using your other school's scholarships as convincing points. If you were rejected from your school, then understand that life comes with so many failures, and this is just another point to teach you something that will help you even further down the path. This will make you an even stronger person. I failed in many aspects of my music career so far at the ripe age of 18, but these failures have taught me so much about preparing the music and my problem of being too overconfident that I don't practice it as much as I should and I don't give it my best, so that the result, I expect it to be so easy to win, but that makes it hurt even more when I don't. So I've learned to always give my best. So there you have it. I hope this advice will help you get into music school or help you along your process of auditioning. If you found this useful, please save it, share it, like it, comment, you know the deal. This was just my process of getting into the 6 music schools that I applied to as a euphonium player. If you are auditioning for music schools and found this helpful, then leave a comment because it will make me really happy. If you didn't enjoy it, then send this to your worst enemy and that would make me happy as well. Go practice.